Okay, folks, get ready for this. The Biden administration has been withholding a secret agreement. Now, will this agreement benefit us? No, it benefits our enemies. It's between Iran and Russia. They've been holding this back from Congress as nuclear sanctions continue in Vienna, or negotiations, I should say, continue in Vienna on those sanctions. The secret agreement lifts some of those sanctions on Iran in exchange for a limited set of restrictions on the country's nuclear program. What do increased tensions with Russia mean for our standing with Iran? Joining me now is the executive director of the Iranian Americans for Liberty, Brian Leib. Brian, welcome back. You know, reports emerged late Friday that Russia proposed this interim nuclear deal to the Iranians with the knowledge of the United States and our officials. However, Republican lawmakers are saying the details are being kept from Congress. Now, why do you think the Biden administration is hiding all of this information?
Chris, good to be back with you. I mean, are we surprised? Are we surprised that Biden and his cronies in D.C. Are keeping Republicans in the dark? This is just one of 15 other situations that I can think of off the top of my head where Republican lawmakers have been demanding answers from the Biden administration with a lot of things related to the Islamic Republic of Iran. They are stonewalled at every single turn. So, I think it's time for the American people and for your viewers to start asking the question, is the Biden administration working for the American people? Or are they working for the Islamic Republic of Iran? It's something I think people should start asking.
Right. Well, it could be Iran. It could be Beijing. It could be Moscow. It seems all the moves that this administration makes are to the benefit of enemies and adversaries. We don't call them the foreigners' first political party for nothing. Iran's secret deal with Russia comes as tensions between the United States, Ukraine, and Russia are escalating, as everybody knows. What do you think this will do? Will it cause a ripple effect with our enemies in the Middle East as well? You think it's going to be a feeding frenzy on the United States as they smell blood in the water?
Well, there's already blood in the water, and I think they already, smell weakness. President Biden, as I like to call him, President Appeasement, has been projecting weakness and appeasing terrorists from the moment he took power. I think our adversaries have been licking their chops while they've been eating our breakfast, lunch, and dinner ever since he stepped into the White House. It's very clear. You see what's happening all throughout the world. You have the Chinese and the Iranians doing a deal last summer, a $400 billion 25-year trade deal. You have the Iranians, the Russians, and the Chinese now doing naval exercises together. You have the Russians now looking to do whatever they can to do a deal similar to what the Chinese did with the Iranians. So, it's really interesting, Chris. I know you and I and your viewers and conservatives in this country understand that, when you're projecting weakness onto the world, our adversaries are going to take advantage of that. For some reason, President Biden, Jake Sullivan, Rob Malley, the whole crew, it's weakness after weakness. It's tweet after tweet without any concrete action. Good example of that would be that the Houthi rebels continue to attack all throughout the world and recently attacked the UAE for a second time. The UAE called on the State Department for them to put the Houthis back on the foreign terrorist organization list. President Biden said he was considering it. What is he considering? They're terrorists funded by the Iranian regime, targeting our allies throughout the region. It is absolutely ridiculous, the weakness that just keeps coming from this administration. And we continue to beat the drum. Here at Newsmax, we're beating that drum. I'm not seeing anyone on the left. I'm not seeing CNN or NBC or ABC or any of them talking about what's happening.
Yeah, and I think we have to expand. Maybe it's not weakness, because everywhere you look, you see Mr. Biden making decisions that will greatly benefit our enemies and actually put American citizens at a disadvantage. Let me give you an example. We just learned the Biden regime freed up Iranian money so that the #1 state sponsor of terror could get their vote back, have their vote restored at the United Nations. Now, to me, it would seem to me that giving the #1 state sponsor of terrorism a voice at the UN should be the last priority in an American administration with everything else we have going on. But Team Biden took the time out to go ahead and free up money so that Seoul, South Korea could pay these dues so that the Iranians were happy. It seems that Joe Biden doesn't give a damn about keeping Americans happy, about making sure that we have food, making sure that we have our store shelves stocked, making sure that our borders are secure, that our country is secure. But they are hell-bent on making sure that the Iranian mullahs are happy. Am I reading this wrong?
I think you're spot on. I think President Biden and his administration know exactly what they're doing. Ever since they stepped into power, they brought back all of Obama's former individuals that were involved with the JCPOA. Those were some of their very first hires, Chris, that they brought back into the fold. So it's been all in from day one to do whatever they can to appease the mullahs in Iran. And I'm so glad that you're bringing up the fact that South Korea freed up $18 million. And by the way, it's not like they even sent the money back to Iran. They sent that money directly to the United Nations. And of course, they did that with the blessing of President Biden. There is no way that the South Koreans would have unfrozen $18 million if President Trump was in the White House. That is for sure. So it is just continued appeasement that keeps happening. And it's worth noting, Chris, you should know this and your viewers should know this, that this is not the first time that the Iranians have lost their voting rights at the United Nations for non-payment. It happened last year. It happened the year before that. So this is their calling card. I'm so upset at the South Koreans for unfreezing this money. Despicable.
Yeah, and well, you're right. It is. They did so at the behest of Biden, so his dirty little fingerprints wouldn't be all over it. But let's just see where this all goes, because you have Biden and the Democrat socialists in this country willing to kiss the rear end of every tin-pot dictator out there, of every enemy of America, and let's see where it gets them. According to their foreign ministry over in Iran, a spokesperson, Iran has ruled out releasing American prisoners as a precondition for restarting these nuclear talks. So with all the goodwill, all the rear end kissing that Joe Biden is doing for all of our enemies and all of his political party is doing, they look at him and they don't say, well, let me give you gave us something, Joe, we'll give you something. They don't do that. They sense weakness and they're kicking Biden in the teeth because they know they can get away with it. Am I reading that wrong?
Again, you're spot on. They see the weakness. They see the opening. They continue to exploit this. The Iranian regime, like a lot of our adversaries, like the Russians and like the Chinese, they're very good at exploiting weakness. They're not good at a lot of other things, but they're very good at exploiting weakness. And that's something that has, unfortunately, Chris, not been in short supply since President Appeasement stepped in to the White House.
President Appeasement. I might have to adopt that one. Brian Leib, thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate the time.